This is where selection becomes interesting. I say interesting. I think you'll dig it. Stay with me. Now, you can't do a selection with a single click. Like the selection I gave you with the duck, even the selection I gave you with the hill were very simple examples of cutting things out and creating an active region that was very simple. Generally, if you're trying to get rid of a background, you'll do one broad stroke that will get almost the majority of the color, and then you'll need to make little adjustments to make it so the selection is absolutely perfect. Now, when you use these selection tools, you probably won't only use one. What you'll do is you'll use them together to make the selection that much better. Let me show you what I mean. I can affect how this selection is. So with one click, I was able to get this to happen, which is pretty good with one click. However, I want to subtract from this selection. I want to, say, click and drag this area and be able to fix that. How did I do that? The way that I did that is I went to my selection tool, the square selection tool, or the rectangular marquee, and I didn't just click and drag, because if I clicked and dragged, that would start a new selection. That's not what I want. Instead, I held down Alt, and you'll notice when I hold down Alt, a little minus sign appears next to the pointer, next to the marquee. Again, you don't need to remember Alt. Just hit the different modifier keys, and you'll notice that it changes in different ways. If you do it the wrong way, don't worry about it. You can always press undo. So again, don't memorize the modifier keys. Just remember one of the modifier keys subtracts, one of them adds. So if you hold down Alt, you're able to subtract from the selection. So I'm holding down Alt, a minus sign appears, and then I have my general selection, and I'm also able to make minor changes that affect the entire thing. So I'm just clicking it again and again. Don't just click and drag, because that'll start a new selection. Not what you want. If you accidentally do that, not a big deal. Just hit Control-Z, hold down Alt, subtract from the selection. If you accidentally hit Shift, not a big deal. Just hit Control-Z. And now we have a much better selection. I notice there's still a couple of problems with these. You can see the dancing ants giving me a sign. So I want to get rid of this. I accidentally went the wrong way. I'm going to hit Control-Z. If I hold down Shift, it adds to the selection. Alt subtracts, Shift adds. Feel free not to memorize that and just to do it wrong and see what happens. And now I can delete everything inside of this active region, and I'm left with this. So let's get rid of this selection by going to Select, Deselect, and move this layer over here. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to delete this layer right here, and I'm going to decrease the size of this one right here. So I'm just going to hit Control-0 to see the whole thing, move it up right there, hit Control-0 again just to see the whole canvas. Looking pretty good. I think a sand thing would look about that size. And let's actually put it behind the sand dune. Let's turn off the ducky. And there we go. Now we've got a sand dune going in this image. And, you know, we spent a lot of time, that looks decent. I'm pretty happy with that. And we spent a lot of time working with this. Let me show you one more thing that we could do this, other than adding it into the world's worst business card. Something else that we could do is we could completely change the background. So for instance, we could put in a background of a sunrise. And I haven't shown you how to do this yet, and I'll show you how to do color correction later. But let's just assume that the next step would be fixing the colors and immediately get it looking from this to this. And this took us a while. This video took a while, but to give you an idea of how quickly you can do that once you have a pretty good handle of the wand tool, it consists of a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here, let's move this right here, 9, and 10. Once you know what you're doing with this, you can do it so much faster. So that was looking at the wand tool. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to deal with images that have far more confusing backgrounds than this blue one. We'll deal with an actually complicated background and how you can select out really anything. And we're going to get into the lasso tool and also into the quick selection tool.